Hello everybody, and we're back. We're actually live a little bit late to this draft. We have BlizzPro, the 0-2 team, fighting against Disaster Area in this Week 7 matchup. Disaster Area is 2-4. Disaster Area is on a 2-game win streak. We'll be seeing a lot of action in this match. Probably see some interesting drafts here, draft choices at least. So let me turn this music down for you guys, if I can find it. Sorry about that. So we're already into it. Home team is BlizzPro. They're going to ban out Diablo first, and Disaster Area immediately responding with a Zagara ban. Not too bad, I guess, if they're afraid of some sort of gank tank going on, gank combo. Maybe they're afraid of like an old Diablo Tyrande stun meta, but they end up banning Diablo. Zagara is a very good pick. Surprising not to see a Li-Ming or a Rhaegar ban, but if there's two powerful heroes, may as well leave one open for pickup later on. Disaster Area does that, so they ban out the Zagara. Li-Ming was chosen by BlizzPro, and an immediate response is the second mage, Jaina, probably number 2 mage available right now in this game with this current patch. And they also get a Rhaegar, very strong starting lineup by them so far. Back to the BlizzPro, they have 2 picks here. I'm probably going to see something. Maybe they don't really need a healer right now. They could easily just snatch up some very strong DPS. If they want to go Thrall, it's a very, very popular pick, but who knows? These teams a little bit unknown at the moment, so very interested to see how they pull this one out, how they're going to draft their composition on this map. We discussed last match about being able to survive the team fights, having a lot of pressure in that bottom lane, so you really kind of want some late game heroes, or some sort of composition that'll give you such a huge lead to start this game off and just steamroll your opponents. But of course, that's kind of a goal on every map, isn't it? So on this one, they're actually going to pick up Lunara, solid hero, sustained, as well as like a medium burst hero. I really like her now after she got reworked. I definitely played her a lot on release, and she was okay, but now she is fantastic. Definitely a very top tier hero, at least tier 1.5 in my eyes. So they're gonna lock that one up. Something to note though, with the Lunara pick, she is gonna be a little bit slow to make those rotations. So she's probably gonna be somewhere in the middle lane. At least I'd like to see that. And they're actually gonna pick up a healer, and they will choose Uther. That go ahead and sums that up. They could have easily picked another hero, and then gone to a better, maybe one specific healer later on, depending on Disaster Area's composition. So we're just going to go ahead and go to the next ban phase, and Disaster Area with the second round first ban, and Thrall is actually taken out of this picture. Definitely not sure if that's exactly what they want to do. I know Thrall's very, very strong. They could have easily just picked up Thrall, as they have the next 2 picks. Thrall and Jaina, we saw it last match. Very, very deadly combo, especially on this map with those tight corridors that they have to fight within. And they just ban him out. Maybe they have different ideas of synergies with what they want to do with their composition. BlizzPro bans out Johanna. Maybe they're looking for another a melee, maybe something with some auto attack damage. So they want to get Johanna off the board. She's very, very tanky and can easily go into the back line. If she was in there, if the other team picked her, if Disaster Area picked up Johanna, it would be a little bit upsetting. She could easily just run right past everybody at this point, based on this draft, and just blind Lunara and stun Li-Ming and Lunara and do a lot of damage. So they're going to take him off the board. And Disaster Area with their next picks, they pick up an E.T.C. and a Falstad. So they're locking up an auto attack damage, which is Falstad, and they see an E.T.C., which I love. I absolutely love E.T.C. here. The Jaina Ring of Frost comboed with E.T.C.'s Mosh Pit is fantastic. I love it. Falstad doesn't quite fit in there, as his Gust would kind of go away, but we might actually see a Hinterland Blast from him. I would love to see that as well. Now, definitely got buffed this last patch. It does a substantial amount of damage, and if they get a huge combination off with that, they can wipe the enemy team very, very quickly. So BlizzPro's on to their last two picks, and they're gonna go with a Chen, the Pandemonium. Chen is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. I love it, and they're gonna pick up Sylvanas as well as their last pick. Oh man, we're gonna see a Chen game. Who's excited? I'm definitely excited. So Chen, very great hero. They fixed his flying kick. We're seeing him a lot more now in competitive HOTS. He's definitely made his appearance in some EU games as well as some NA qualifiers. Chen could easily come in there if he goes barrel, which he probably will. He'll probably pull a barrel boys and just knock over E.T.C whenever he tries to ult. I like the pickup. Can easily just jump in, flying kick any of those heroes, and basically just be disruptive, as well as extremely tanky. If he wanted to just hold down one altar all by himself, he could easily do that. So their last pick was Sylvanas. A little bit, I like the pick. I think a specialist here might be able to help out their composition and spread a little bit of damage around as well with Sylvanas' W, maybe get some vulnerabilities. Not too bad, like mildish burst, but not too much. We'll see how they use her in this composition. And also the Wailing Arrow is also huge. She'd easily silence all those enemies if they get caught in a big mosh. Decent pick. So Disaster Area finishes their drafts with a Sonya. Very popular hero. Now, they banned out the Thrall and they went with the Sonya. Not a horrible pick. I do like Sonya still. She's still very strong, even though she's kind of got nerfed just a little bit, just to bring her down just a tad bit. But she is a fantastic bruiser and brawler, and she's going to be in there in the fray. It's a shame we couldn't see Sonya and Chen together, maybe a washing machine combo. But that's maybe for another day, another stream, another game, another season. So Sonya, of course, definitely needed a melee assassin, or she's not really an assassin, but she is at the same time. So we'll see her do some work in there. Decent drafts by both teams. I definitely like the combo possibilities that Disaster Area just picked up. I think they're going to have a easier time surviving these team fights on this map, and that will hopefully lead to more altar captures. But if they decide to just poke, if BlizzPro decides to just kind of, stay back and poke a little bit and whittle their team down and then immediately go in hard when Chen jumps in, they can definitely pull out an upset here. So let's go into this game. And hopefully this time we won't see any weird happenings going on with the banned heroes being picked and played. Very funny. Never had that happen before, but it's the first time for everything. So Disaster Area coming off a 2-game win streak right now. In my eyes, probably the favorite at this point. They probably turned things around. They have a lot more experience in their chair league. They've come back from their 4-game losing streak. They've really turned it around. Looks like their adjustments have been very good. I know that drafting is a huge part, and a lot of new teams have a problem with drafting. I really like what they drafted, and I think they'll probably perform well here. We're 9 out of 10 right now. Let's see if we can get the 10th. And let me double check these heroes and make sure there's no funky business going on. And from what I can see, we're good to go. So looking at these compositions, I know that there's players that try to counter Li-Ming, and if they let the enemy team pick that Li-Ming, which they did, I feel like they should have gone maybe some more heroes that could counter Li-Ming. So like a Zeratul is a very popular choice against Li-Ming. Another hero would be a Greymane, so he could easily jump in. You want heroes that are very divey and could probably jump in there and deal with that. E.T.C kind of fills that role as a tank. He could slide in his distance. If you spec into it on the first talent tier, you can get an increased width and range, and that will really help you secure a kill on Li-Ming. Falsad, he can kind of fly in behind and maybe secure a kill, but we'll see what happens and how they play it.
Prepare yourself for battle.
So let's introduce these players. Balrog Fan is playing Uther for the red team. Flameg on Lunara. Chen playing, being operated by Zexorus. Oops, sorry about that. Aya on Sylvanas, and Digitality playing Li-Ming. For the blue team is Vasha Narada on E.T.C. Rhaegar is being operated by Warnoth. The man of the hour. The man of the hour, there we go. Is on Falstad. Millerah playing Jaina, and Mouse the Cat is playing Sonya the Bruiser. So both teams coming in. Again, we see the right side, a 1-3-1 setup, and blue team is rushing straight in there, trying to get some sort of gank and early lead in the middle. So Jaina's bottom, and once again we see a Falstad top as we saw in the last game, if you were here with me. And here we go in a little skirmishing and some bad positioning by E.T.C, but he ends up power sliding away from it. He's going to escape with his life there. But it looks like because the blue team went into the middle, they actually got the head, or excuse me, the red team actually got ahead in experience, as blue team missed a little bit of soap from those waves. A power slide comes in from E.T.C, but nothing really to follow it up. Just some skirmishing going on. Falstad gave up top just for a moment so that he can join that fight and hopefully get a gank, but ends up not losing anything. Maybe one minion of soap. Actually, need to fix this. There we go. So no first bloods. Both teams very even, and this first altar is spawning. I think rotations here are going to be very important. There's going to have to be some good setups by Team BlizzPro, as they're a little bit more squishy at this point. And they're actually going to fight. E.T.C tried to power slide in and get a nice stun, maybe a combo off, but to no avail. And nobody killed that wisp, if you can see that right there in the middle of the map.
And claim the altars in my name.
That's going to be invaluable information for BlizzPro on these rotations of the red team. And E.T.C is a little low, as well as Jaina, but they're coming into the fight anyways. It's not looking too good so far because they're so low right now. And E.T.C is kind of going down a little bit. Chen is doing some great zoning right now, and he is down. Li-Ming blinks in and finishes off E.T.C. Sonya is almost low. The poison might get her. She needs to go immediately and get healed, but Rhaegar is down, and that's not going to happen. So that is a 3-0 in favor of Team BlizzPro. I think that was well played by them. I think that the red team definitely needed a heal or get sippy cup. I think the middle engage was just a little bit too ambitious. And we see Li-Ming taking out the middle watchtower. He's got very, very good damage to structures. I like to see her just work on these towers so much. It's fantastic. She's more of a specialist assassin in my eyes. We'll see if Blizzard will end up toning her down a little bit later. So as it stands, BlizzPro slightly ahead in experience, but nothing major. And they're going to cap their bottom left camp, and we'll hopefully see Sylvanas and Chen escort these mercenaries into the bottom lane. There's one thing I don't see enough, is when you capture a camp, you can't just leave it and expect it to go do its own thing unless you're just strictly looking for information. But on this map, you need to escort these mercs because they do a ton of damage to structures. 2 of them took out 1 tower from full health. So it's 3 versus 2. Well, more like a drunken Chen versus the world. So he's just going to come in and disrupt and do his own thing. While Sylvanas does a little poking from the backside. Chen's got problems. Just leave him alone. Anyways, next altar spawns is at the bottom. Blue team did end up picking up the first level 7s. But red team is not far behind. And they're already skirmishing Falstad has not yet joined the fight, and neither is Li-Ming. Now, Falstad needs to start rotating right now and get in here very, very quickly, or else it's going to spell disaster. 5 versus 4 for the enemy team. And Power Slide comes in. Lunara gets trapped, and she gets blown up. She's still very squishy. E.T.C still low, but not before he gets an Uther kill. That's a 2-for-1 trade right now. And Team DA actually has a healer left. We'll see if they can finish these other heroes off. In a 4 versus 3 skirmish. Red team a little bit low still. They really need to try to get into this back line. It's a little bit difficult because E.T.C is out of this picture. His power slides are invaluable at this point. I think the only way you're gonna be able to get in there, and Sonya dies trying to get some damage. We're talking about trying to engage there. It's very difficult for them because they're so squishy at this point in time. You'd have to get some sort of Rhaegar lead. Rhaegar taking a ton of damage, and a flying kick comes in. Can he get finished off? No. Chain Hill comes up just in time. Shen pays price for it though, trying to kill a Rhaegar. He goes down himself because he went deep with that flying kick. So here's a Res and made their way back. Sonya's on her way. There's already 4 heroes in the bottom. Shen, of course, on that Res timer. And boom goes the Dynamite. Rhaegar gets destroyed. Falstad's next to fall. Big Blizzard comes out on Uther. And Sonya was trying to get that back line on Li-Ming, but it wasn't happening. She just blinked away. And this tower is actually going to go to Team BlizzPro. Boy, these skirmishes last forever on these maps. I think some sustained damage is really going to do you well if you're planning on playing the long game. At which point, I think that probably BlizzPro might be able to pull off a little bit better if they, like I said, get some good auto attacks and some good orbs. Lunara could do some good damage with her poisons. She's a soldier, and Sonya's trying to go crazy here in a 3 versus 2 situation, and she pays the price. No wall to protect her, and with these mercs, with these minions here taking tower damage, blue team just kind of, meh, you're dead. Nothing to be afraid of. So BlizzPro got a kill, and they're going to capitalize. They're going to take this bottom right camp. And we talked about how important that this bottom lane is. It's because of these 2 bottom camps. And these 2 bottom camps here will push in. They do a ton of damage. If they can do a double cap, they could possibly get a keep, a very early keep, right before this next altar spawns. And Sonya's going to try to escort these versus a Jaina. He's doing a good job of defending. And Sonya's actually going to make a rotation. Li-Ming spotted it, is going to come in behind. Mouse the cat doing a little poking. Got Sylvanas down just a hair. And those mercenaries all died, so none of it goes to the keep. Well played by Jaina. Some pretty good defense there. So these altars have spawned. There's one on the top right and one on the top left at this moment. Shen's there blocking. Like I said, he can easily just sit on an altar all by himself. I only see one. I see 2 stuns at the moment. One's the spear from Sonya, and one's a power slide from E.T.C. So we'll have to keep an eye on that for when Shen's drinking. And E.T.C. taking a ton of damage, and Sonya's way out of position. She actually went leap. Both teams with their ultimates, but Ring of Frost. Here's the wombo combo over the mosh pit. And the Barrel Boy's doing work, but he dies thanks to tower damage. And Falsen ends up dying from Lunara's poison. My goodness. E.T.C. once again facing the entire team. Gets blown up. Now these teams need to run out. I really do not like these positioning here. So much fighting going on from Sonya. Sonya's picking some horrific fights and positions to come in. Even though if they had 2 heroes there, it was a 2 versus 3. You should not have gone back in, I don't think. You could easily just give up the 2 altars, try to get your footing back. That was just ugly, man. I can't believe what I just witnessed. But it is what it is. Anyways, I haven't really talked much about these ultimates here. There hasn't been anything funky, although Jaina did go Ring of Frost, and we see a leap from Sonya. I kind of like Leap. I've actually tried a little bit against the Li-Ming. Li-Ming has trouble getting away from people that are sticky, and if you can land a chain stuns, he's very squishy and you can burn her down very quickly. Nothing fancy going on over here. Thornwood Vine from Lunara. Of course, the Wandering Keg picked up by Chen. No possession again this game. My goodness, Balrog taking a ton of damage. The Divine Shield is on cooldown. He's going to get burnt down. Leap comes in, leaping on that Li-Ming, like I said, trying to chase. But this team is entirely split up. Jaina had to go back in Sippy Cup. And a Gus comes out to save Sonya. Ring of Frost as Jaina went back in after that Sippy Cup trying to get a kill, but it didn't connect. And Lunara takes down Jaina. And that's a few more kills racked up for Team BlizzPro. Falstad trying to hold the bottom. Power slides in, trying to delay the inevitable. But Ashley Lunara went middle, and Sylvanas is also middle, so no help from their team trying to cap this keep on bottom. Like I said, there's a lot of pressure that needs to be applied on these bottom two keeps. Seeing how they're up in men, they're up 2 heroes. I think that's a perfect time to cap that camp right there. So anyways, these two altars spawn. We see a mid and bottom altar. Let's see which team's going to rotate first. They are both on even talent tiers. Nothing fancy going on as far as talents are concerned, except for the Death Cannon for Li-Ming. Now Li-Ming, hold on a second, E.T.C just power slid into an enemy of 4 as a party brush, and he gets silenced and stunned and completed. And so much damage coming out. Ancestral Healing saves the Jaina, but Falstad, I believe, used a Gus there early. He probably should have saved that and stuck with his team. If they all ran in the same direction, I think they probably could have got away with that, but instead, some great zoning from Chen, as well as very fortunate pickup on E.T.C before the fighting really began. So they grab both the altars, and so far it's flawless right now for BlizzPro, and they're coming in hard on this bottom keep and absolutely destroy Jaina. They get that bottom keep, like I said, very important. Bottom lane's very important here. They're up in material still, as far as heroes go. And this is exactly what I love to see. I want to see them deep in enemy territory, sealing their camps, their mercenaries, and making the enemy team pay for it. They have 2-level advantage right now, a 2-level lead, and could easily just escort both these mercs if they wanted to and have their way, as DA has no way to respond without putting themselves in danger here. So they are going to pick up this other camp. But there is a rotation on mid. Li-Ming's already doing work to this tower. Flying kick comes on, and the Barrel Boys are back at work. Hello! Sonya had to ultimate just to get away from it. Not a bad decision as she was going to go down with almost near certainty. So BlizzPro takes this middle keep. Meanwhile, DA took the bottom keep, and there are still some mercenaries pushing, and they're going to go ahead and abandon these and come up to the middle. I think a little bit too early, as this middle keep isn't capped yet. They kind of need to kill. They probably should have stayed bottom, killed this little mercenary camp, and then went to cap middle. But surprise, surprise, that's 4 more shots on your core, DA. BlizzPro doing a tremendous job right now, keeping the enemy on their toes. They really just seem a little bit flustered right now. I'm not exactly sure what to do. So far, the dangerous E.T.C power slides isn't really connecting with too many heroes. DA is set up in the bushes already, but they're still down at talents here. And he tries to get a mosh pit off E.T.C, but gets interrupted. That'll be an 8-second cooldown and just enough time to almost die. Actually, a huge Ancestral comes out and saves him. Another mosh pit comes in and captures 4 heroes, and the leap. Here comes the Wombo combo with the Ring of Frost. And they get 2 heroes, but not before E.T.C goes down, and Falstad. Boy, what a skirmish. So, it is 3 versus 3. And Rhaegar goes down. Make that 3 versus 2 as Sonya actually 3 versus 1. Jaina died. Everybody's dead. Just about. Sonya's gonna make it out alive. Okay. Thank goodness. But the good news is they did pick up that altar, and that's 3 shots in the enemy's core. But they're almost team wiped trying to get that. Now, like I said, doing a team wipe on this map isn't going to lose you the game, unless it's the last few shots on your core. So you can definitely still come back from this. Although that BlizzPro does have a 2-level lead, they We'll make that just about a 3 level at this moment. But DA can definitely still come back. We just saw a little bit of wombo combo potential. You know, we did see Falsight get Mighty Gust. I think if he had a Hinterland Blast, as funny as it may sound, I think that he possibly could have gotten that. So BlizzPro ends up capping this camp. Let's see if they escort these mercs. Now, they don't have to fight this, but they are coming in. They are going to try to escort these mercenaries. And they are going to try to get some kills. So Li-Ming is getting chased down, and she gets almost, yep, she gets deleted. Well played by Sonya, and she goes down as well. Unfortunately, then Official Healing did not save her in time. Luther goes down. The Barrel Boys are in play, pushing Jaina way out of position. And if they chase Shen here, it could get turned on very easily. And instead, Chen just tries to run away. I think if Chen maybe would have stayed and let this tower do damage to the enemy team, they probably could have gotten an even 1-for-1 trade, which might not have been a bad thing for them. Seeing as Chen was just in a very precarious spot right there. So the DA is definitely going to get this keep back, and they're back at 3 keeps strength. And this altar is spawned. And they're up right now. They're up a lot with their heroes. But down in a talent tier as BlizzPro is about to hit level 20. So this will be a very easy altar pickup for the DA. No problems for BlizzPro as they have a huge lead right now. Now it is 33-9. And they are the 2 heroes that are alive. They went to top lane. And see if they do a little push right here and trade off these keeps. Because the DA is encroaching. They're going for this bottom keep. And it's an easy pickup. If they can get a rotation, such as a Falstad Fly and a Gust, I would love to see that. And they're actually going to move in on a Li-Ming right now. Let's see if Li-Ming can spot this out. She might get away. Falstad does end up flying in, but Li-Ming blinks too far. Let's watch this 5 vs 5. Lots of damage is coming out. Sonya is way out of position, so she definitely paid for that one. Definitely don't like that. I think Sonya was trying to chase Li-Ming again, but ends up getting slowed and just zoned out by the enemy team. So I think that she will probably spawn by the time the next altar comes up, but that doesn't. That's going to be absolutely absolutely a horrible death because they lose the middle keep. BlizzPros will probably come in, steal this camp, and probably put a lot of pressure on this entire bottom lane, which is owned by the red team. So these teams are just trying to kind of avoiding each other right now. As Sonya is still dead. And let's see if BlizzPros try something funny here. They might try to go for this keep. But there's actually a triple altar spawn right now. 2 top and 1 very bottom. So this is, we're gonna see, it's gonna be very interesting to see how these 2 teams respond. E.T.C power slides into Mosh Pit. Absolute air. And he got it all. So he power slides again in and takes a ton of damage and needs that ancestral healing. There's a lot of damage going on in this backline. Lunara is doing work. She is a mage killer. #1 mage killer hunter. Player hunter killer mage in the world. So red team is down 2 heroes. They desperately needed this fight to go their way, and unfortunately it did not. That is a full team wipe. Hey, there's a party. It's a beautiful heart music going on. So that's actually going to be a good game. BlizzPros put on a clinic on this map. Unfortunately, the bad positioning, as well as the poor shot calling, they kind of looked a little bit lost. So DA did end up losing this match. They're going to move to a 2-5. Congratulations to BlizzPro. Good game.
Blue team is victorious.
Congratulations to Team BlizzPro, their first victory in Chair League. Uh, assuming that they weren't on other teams. But good game by them. They did a good job. I was a little afraid on their draft and the wombo combo potential that Disaster Area had, but we only really saw that combo once. There was like some staggered combinations of their ultimates, but there was just too much team splitting up for them to really combine the synergies within themselves, within their heroes, and try to kill the enemy team. And then they had the enemy team, Blizz Pros. They had some backliners that are kind of difficult to get to, so it's a little bit hard to get in there. I think that once the enemy team does draft a Li-Ming, maybe you need to just dive in really hard against her and try to single her out. Maybe do some bush parties and such. They made a bad call trying to take a fight when an altar spawned in the very bottom lane as they were down a talent tier. But they did have advantage, and they did end up getting that altar. So it was kind of a weird trade-off for them. But overall, BlizzPro did very good of avoiding any mosh pits or anything, staying alive. Chen did a great job of zoning out Sonya's, Jaina's, anybody else who had any problems with trying to get in there and do damage and stop them from completing their mission. But that kind of left them open as well, because when Chen does his little barrel roll and he were to zone out one hero, such as a Sonya, that leaves the enemy team, Disaster Area, to just kind of go in and do that dive. So once they were kind of split, if they kind of coordinate a little bit, they could have just dove in and possibly got a pick or two. Seeing as how Team BlizzPros picked up some very, very squishy heroes, Li-Ming, Sylvanas, and Lunara. So those heroes can die so quickly if there's any pressure put on them. One stun with maybe a slow from Rhaegar, like a slowing totem, and as long as like a Lunara or a Li-Ming can eat one full blizzard, that could put her in very deep doo-doo, very, very low health. So yeah. Either way, good games of both teams. I'll be highlighting this for your pleasure, so hopefully you can review these games. I want to give you a thank you to everybody who followed, everybody who hosted. Chair League is not over, by the way. This is still season 1. There's still time to get on. I believe this week's schedule is already out. So if you want to sign up, if you're not already signed up, grab your friends, sign up at chairleague.com, get in on this action. There's going to be an ending of the season, probably maybe some playoffs, which I'd love to see, and then season 2, which might actually include